Hey, FreightWaves fans and friends, welcome to another episode here on Thursday as we're trending around the corner, heading into the end of the week. And today we are again visited by three market experts. I'm so excited to present to you again Nick Austin, our chief meteorologist, for a look at the weather around the nation. You can't control the weather, but you can prepare for it. And also we're talking to Michael Cosby, another market expert. He's going to be talking to us about volumes and a little bit about what in the world's going on with automotive. And then a first-time inaugural debut with Jeff Seibenhener talking to us about autonomous and tech. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Austin, what is going on around the nation today, Nick?
Chad, the lake effect snow machine, it is still cranking out there, baby. It's just piling up the snow all across the Northeast, mainly interior parts of the Northeast. So from just south of Cleveland and Akron, Ohio, all the way up into northern Vermont.
It's still looking bad.
It's still cranking. It's going to fade out today. It's not going to be going all day, but for the next, through a late morning, early afternoon, and you know, by this time of the day, late afternoon, there's probably not much snow that's still falling across the area. So, but there's still going to be a lot of wind blowing snow up through those areas as well. And some of that snow, as I mentioned, is going to be falling across Akron, which is in the Cleveland market, which has been gaining a bit of volume in the last couple of days. And also outbound volume going up in the Salt Lake City market.
Yeah,
There's
look
some
at that funny little sliver.
Nasty weather out there from around Salt Lake City and the Great Salt Lake desert area, the surrounding mountains, and up into southeastern Idaho too. Snow, freezing rain, a lot of slick roads on the interstates too, across those areas.
Yes, yeah.
So
those pretty little colors are not so pretty on the actual roadways.
they're not pretty if you have to drive through that stuff.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And there's going to be a lot of wind across the mid-Atlantic too for today. We're talking about wind gusts most of the day up to 45, 50 miles per hour from near DC up to Baltimore and just west of Philadelphia, across the major corridors there, close to the I-95 corridor. So, so that's going to be a problem as well.
Okay, yeah. Well, so that's your update for today. What's happening right now with weather? Thanks again, Nick Austin. And now, market expert coming at you live, the wonderful wizard of Croz. Croz, tell us what's happening with outbound tender volume index right now.
Thanks, Chad. We've seen a lot of volume come up in the West Coast, particularly LA.
Looking at LA, not the whole US right now.
Right. This is just Los Angeles here. And in several regions, if you look at Los Angeles, this kind of tells kind of paints a picture here as we had the tariff deadlines and everything. We see the volume kind of slowly picking up even through the holidays. It's trending higher and higher.
So high.
And right before Thanksgiving here, this is kind of when we had the extension here on the tariff deadlines. And of course, we kind of went into the holidays here. We see a big lull. We weren't sure if this market was going to pick back up or not.
We weren't.
But if you look at just the last few days and look at this little dotted green line here at the top, you'll see that we've actually made a comeback, and it's actually about to surpass the peak,
the highest
in
level
November
of the
and
holidays?
December. Yes, absolutely. So volume in Los Angeles is high, Stockton, San Francisco, but particularly that Southern California area. Now,
okay, so I have a question for you. Like, if we've been talking about like how the trade war is hurting things, and how, you know, it's the tariffs and manufacturing may have been slowing down in not only the U.S. but across Asia. What in the world is happening? How are volumes picking up to the extent that they are?
Well, it's particularly just this region that we're looking at. In fact, after you come off of two holidays, we'll pull up my next chart here. In order to really get a handle on, like, we see volumes going up, right? But if you look at most of the volumes, they're going to be trending upward anyway because we just came off of two back-to-back holidays, right? So we had Christmas, we had New Year's, so a lot of the markets are going to be trending up, just like LA. But to really get a handle to see, where we are in relation to the rest of the country, I've got the market share for Atlanta pulled up here.
And that's in white.
That's in white, and you can see that the lion's share of the volume or the market share is usually Atlanta. This is interesting right here at the beginning of November. As you can see, Ontario, which is just to the east of LA.
Yes.
City of Industry, just right there where most of the warehousing and the containers are draped.
They cross paths
They cross paths here. And then here's kind of where we were looking at earlier on the volume chart for LA. So,
it fell off.
Right. And so looking at the very right side of the chart here, you can see that Atlanta has actually lost some market share here in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, whereas Ontario has significantly increased, which says a lot. It's kind of comparing where the market is in comparison.
Well, okay, I see that, but I'm curious, like, what is happening in LA? It's at two major ports there. I have a thesis, if I may. See what you think about this. Is China? Are they stockpiling? Are they trying to get ahead of the new tariff?
That's the thinking. I mean, the tariffs weren't necessarily canceled. We just had like a delay on them.
Yeah.
So now we've seen this lull, and we're all back to work now at the first of the year, and we're seeing now we're trying to get ahead of that again. So the rush is apparently back on.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that it could necessarily work that way, but it's fascinating to see. I mean, Atlanta remains pretty hot, even though it has slightly ticked down. And thanks. Is that what you were going to show us along the lines of volume and
volume of market share? Yes.
Awesome. Now, also, we've been hearing some news about like the automotive industry. And it's not a bed of roses. In 2019, the automotive industry, especially in the U.S., saw some declines. And we had the news of GM shuttering 5 factories in North America, laying off as many as 15,000 workers, both white collar and factory workers. And the big story along those lines is that they're seeing that the consumers are not buying sedans. They're going more leaning. Their preferences are towards SUVs and larger vehicles. They're closing down a whole lot of the sedans, and so is Ford, although a little bit more quietly. Well, today it looks like Ford is announcing some closings and some layoffs in the Europe market, and because of disappointing 2019 results and kind of an uncertainty about how many trucks and SUVs can fill all of those lost sedan orders. We're looking closely at what this means. So you've got some interesting data for us on automotive production.
Right. What we're looking at here is Ford has a lot of plants in specifically the Detroit, the Cleveland, and the Chicago market. And so this is the 3 lines that we're looking at here. Obviously, Detroit has the most production coming out of that market here, but we are slowly trending down. This is a monthly number that comes out, Chad.
And we're looking at a 5-year, a 2-year. What's our?
This goes back to 2015.
Okay.
2015.
So several years. Well, it's relatively flat across here. I see some volatility in the Detroit market.
Right. And the projections are, we won't have the December numbers until the end of January, but nationally the projections are looking to be about 8.5% lower this year than we were last year. We're predicting about between 700,000 and 800,000 nationally for automotive production on the national scale. So that is kind of a little bit of a downtrend there.
Okay. Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Michael Crosby, the Cros market expert. But besides one of the sedan issue and the customers preferring that kind of command seating position that they talk about with the larger vehicles, there's also the very interesting case of autonomous and how that is impacting things. And along those very lines, we're bringing in market expert Jeff Seibenhener. Come on in. Did I pronounce that correctly, Jeff?
It's actually Seibenhener.
I said Hemer. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I'm doing the best I can. Great to have you on. And tell us a little bit about what is going on with autonomous and the vehicles.
Sure. So on Monday, as a matter of fact, Daimler just announced that at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, that they're going to have produce a level 2 autonomous truck. It's actually going to be a Freightliner Cascadia, and they're going to start production on that in July of this year. So I would assume we would see maybe some of those trucks on the road in the third or fourth quarter of this year.
You know what I think that is like kind of super interesting news is that, you know, people like a couple of years ago, people were saying, oh, this autonomous thing is super exciting, but we're talking 10 years down the road. Well, guess where we are right now in 2019? Daimler is actually going to start manufacturing level 2 autonomous.
Absolutely.
Well, you brought up this chart of the different levels of autonomous. You want to like kind of like give us an overview of what they are?
Sure.
What does level 2 mean?
I mean, if you look at the chart, I think it's important to see where there's actually a driver required. So as I go through these, you will see hands on the steering wheel and eventually get to one hand and then no driver actually required.
That doesn't look like a proper way of driving to me. That is not the 9 and 3 or 10 and 2 position.
What we have is really, there used to be 5 levels, now there's 6. So according to the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, there's actually 6 levels of autonomy.
But are there 6? Is 0 really a number?
You know, I mean, in my opinion, no. But you know, I mean, this is their 6 levels, so I'm going to go with it.
0 being no automation. Okay,
that's correct. 0 being no automation. You may actually have a mechanical cruise control as an example, but really no. It's 100% control by the driver. There's nothing autonomous going on there.
One question I have for you on level 1 is with driver assistance. Is cruise control considered a level 1 autonomous?
Well, you know, I think so. And really the level 1 is you can have multiple components of autonomy, but they don't work cohesively together. So you only have one working at a time. So let's take an example of, you know, lane assist. So you would not have a lane assist coupled with a brake assist or an automated accelerator.
Okay, so level 2 then, what this is what it means. The implications are what the vehicle has combined automated functions. They've also dispatched with doing they're not doing platooning anymore, which I think is also newsworthy, right?
That's correct. And you know, platooning is basically where you have a lead truck and then you have trailing trucks that basically follow the lead truck. You know, there's a lot of specifications that go there. There's sensors on the lead truck, sensors on the trailing trucks. But yeah, it's interesting that basically what they found in their research and their test was that because there was interruptions in traffic flows, as an example, your trailing trucks may fall behind, and those gaps that they try to maintain are actually greater than what they're trying to maintain. So the fuel that they're burning to try to catch up and close that gap is actually more than if you didn't platoon at all. So that's part of why they dropped platooning.
Yeah, you know, I think that maybe they were worried about regulations too, and like, would they be able to like really institute and like prepare the public for, you know, the autonomous revolution? And then they just decided, forget about it. Let's just go straight to manufacturing these. Actually, Jeff, I have a question. I heard that they're actually capable of producing level 5 right now. Is that true?
That is true.
Wow.
I think, and if you don't mind, let's go through the rest of the levels here. So level 2 is you're combining autonomous functions.
Yes.
So it still requires a driver. Level 3 is more conditional. So basically what that means is that the truck can be fully autonomous except under certain conditions and situations. So those conditions and situations may be something like parking or going on ramp or off ramp, or maybe there's inclement weather and you know there's snow or something like that. So the driver really needs to take back control.
Okay.
Then level 4 and 5 are basically fully autonomous.
That's where it gets fun.
That's right. The big difference between 4 and 5 is 4 still has a steering wheel still has brakes, a brake pad, an accelerator.
Yeah.
Level 5 doesn't have that. So the level 4 and 5 technically doesn't require a driver at all.
I don't know if I'm that comfortable with 5.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I would be comfortable with 4. It seems like a big jump from 3 to 4 as it is.
That's right. And that's really what Daimler's talking about, is they're actually talking about jumping level 3. So they're going to focus on the production of level 2.
Okay.
And dropping platooning. They're going to then focus on level 4, full autonomy.
I see. Fantastic. Do we have other? Do you have something else in your presentation?
Yeah, I actually wanted to show a picture of the truck. So this is from the CES in Vegas again. A picture there. It's a beautiful truck. I love the color of it. I love the grill and it's aerodynamic. Beautiful truck. So I think this year Daimler is being very innovative. We just talked about the autonomy. They also introduced, I think, actually earlier this year, an electric truck. It's the E-Cascadia. So look more for that. As things develop.
Yeah. What else were you going to show us, Jeff? You have the details of the announcement. I see.
Yeah, this is basically, just for your reading pleasure, but I did want to point out one of the big differences in the E-Cascadia is that from the Tesla electric semi is right now the capacity for that truck is 250 miles.
I see that at the very end of this, and so are they a emerging competitor to the Tesla semi?
Absolutely, absolutely. Compared to
assuming that the Tesla semi even comes to exist, right?
Correct.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay. Wow. Well. Thanks for that presentation on autonomous and what Daimler is doing. We are bringing you the very latest of what is happening right now, each and every day, every business day. Give us a break on Saturdays and Sundays, okay? But we are going to be wrapping things up in a big way for you tomorrow on Friday, so continue to stay tuned. Check us out on Twitter and FreightWaves.com, and we will be bringing you even more market information and news on what's going on around the world and around the United States. So stay tuned and don't worry, be happy.